After talking about the intense Battle of Katipunan, it's time to shift our focus to the encounter between the Archers and the Bulldogs. Now still with us to provide insight is basketball analyst Jarrell Lim with Boom Gonzalez at the screen. Boom, take it away.
Thank you, Pao. Jarrell, thanks for sticking around. Before we break down the 2 and 3 matchup, so no playoffs as we know.
Right.
Let's start with a highlight. Yun muna, pampagana. Appetizer before we do the crunching of the numbers. All right. Talk about this highlight from the first quarter. This fantastic play which featured the leading MVP candidate and somebody who really personifies his nickname, Motor Mike.
Motor Mike. That's right, Boom. So it started off with a defensive stop for the Green Archers. So they were applying sort of like a man zone defense, really making it hard for the Bulldogs. As we see here, they were really packing the paint, so it made it hard. And they pushed the ball. Kevin Campbell pushed the ball, he missed the layup, and of course, Motor Mike was there for the cleanup for that slam.
So this was the first one.
That's right.
KQ making it look easy, and then the Motor Mike making it look easier. Look at him run the break. KQ just so fast in terms of picking up the balls, picking up rebounds, and then running the break by himself, and in this case, trying to finish. But yes, Motor Mike is there to clean up any kind of mess. But why we're highlighting this also is this is what NU did not want in this game, right, Jarrell?
That's right.
DLSU speeds up the game.
That's right. So for NU, they didn't want them to speed up, and more so when Green Archers were running, it was the big men of them that were pushing the ball. So it made it a lot tougher for the Bulldogs.
So 97 points. That's huge, especially in a UAAP game. And that's what NU doesn't want. They want to play this in the mud. Tell us how that game happened in your eyes. 97-73. That's exactly what NU doesn't want, or anybody who goes up against Salle to get those numbers up.
That's right. But on the flip side, that's what the Green Archers want. So they really wanted to push the pace, control the game, and it started all with their defense. To them, defense was the name of the game. All throughout, they really controlled the key guys, especially with Kian Baclaan. They were denying him the ball. They were making it tough for him to penetrate. They were clogging the lanes. And that's why it was really, really tough for the Bulldogs.
I like that you mentioned that because we tend to overlook that part of the game for them. Maybe the same with UP also. No, they've got a lot of highlights on the offense. Salle loves to run. They got a lot of great finishers. But they've become a great defensive team this year, Jarrell, don't you think?
That's right. They were very, very disciplined. In fact, if you watch the Green Archers, they would pressure whoever their opponent is, the full court, which goes to show how well they prepared the offseason in terms of their conditioning.
Okay, National U, just like last year, which is exactly what Jeff Napa didn't want to happen, to fizzle in the end, because that's exactly what happened season 85. They started off strong, it fizzled in the end. What's your prognosis for National U, Jarrell?
The beauty for the NU Bulldogs is that they're a really, really young team. Their key guys, Baclaan, Figueroa, Steve Nash Enriquez, they're all coming back for another season. So in terms of leveling up their game, it's definitely going to happen because they had a really good run this season, back-to-back seasons in the Final Four, and that's big. That will rack up their experience coming into next season.
Okay, yes, we can say that, hey, galing, back-to-back Final Four.
Right.
If you talk to Coach Jeff Napa, and I'm sure to all of these players, that's not anymore. It doesn't sound as good as it should.
Right.
So what's the next step for them to get over? And as Jeff Napa would say, play with the big boys, meaning be in the finals with, the LaSalles, the UPs, and the Ateneos. Again, because they've been in the finals before.
Right.
How do they get back there, Jarrell?
So they have the tools. So the next step would be their discipline. They have to be more disciplined in running their offense, especially their defense. And I think that's what the big boys, the Green Archers and the Fighting Maroons, especially the Blue Eagles, do so well in every season.
I don't know if you saw any of the post-game interviews. Coach Jeff Napa, who rarely shows any kind of, he's pretty vulnerability, showed a little bit of emotion towards the end. I think he really got hurt by this loss this year,
right.
Jarrell. And they have another chance, of course, next year, which in the UAAP, napakatagal, ano? All right, so let's talk about standout players. Who stood out for you in this De La Salle NU Bulldogs game?
Right, so it would definitely be Mark Nonoy and Evan Nelly. But to start off with Mark Nonoy, he's been really sizzling hot.
He's been on a tear,
He's been-
including the game that you and I did,
That's right,
Yeah.
against FEU. So dating back to his games in UE, he's been really smoking hot. Boom. Like he's making at least 4 3-pointers a game,
Correct.
and that's been big for them because their offense revolves around Evan Nelly and Kevin Kembao. So a different perspective and a
Right.
different angle this time around is a treat for Coach Topex.
And then Evanelli, of course, steady as she goes.
That's right. Steady is exactly the word, Boom. So Evan Nelly is really the floor general for them. He really controls the game offensively, knows when to shoot, knows when to pass, and he really knows how to, set the tone for the Green Archers.
Does it help that they've been in the finals? Mark Nonoy, obviously, with UST,
Right.
was in the finals. We all know Evanelli has got experience already in a couple of leagues, now in the finals. What can they bring? Because UP, you mentioned it with Paolo earlier, 3 of the last 4 years, they've been in the finals. So that experience, that magnitude of the event is not new to them anymore.
Right.
Karamihan dito sa Lasal will be
First-timers.
first-timers.
Yep.
And these 2 point guards that you talked about have at least championship experience, Jaro.
The beauty of it is in basketball, the floor generals are sort of what dictates the game. And these 2 guys already have the championship experience with their previous teams. So it sort of removes the jitters from them because as we know, as the game progresses, the playoff matches, especially the championships, there are a lot of, we call it like jitters. So malaki kasi yung pressure when it comes to those games. So it's something that they can relay on and rub off to their teammates.
All right. Mark Nonoy, of course, you mentioned he's been, I know we're going to show different kind of numbers too, but we mentioned, I think we were talking about this, from the 7 triples to 4 triples to 2 triples to 4 What do you attribute his resurgence in your eyes while watching his game? His resurgence, especially from the 3-point area. And that to mention, ang kanyang
80%.
2 goes at 80%, Gerald.
Right. So it goes down to the trust that both Coach Topex and his teammates are giving him. They're really looking for him on the break, kicking it out to him on set plays. But more than that, it's the green light that Coach Topex gives him. In fact, Coach Topex encourages him to take those shots. And that really builds up his confidence.
Is a guy like Policarpio going to be some sort of an X factor here? Nobody talks about him that much. Everybody's going to be talking about these 2, and of course KQ. But Policarpio, steady as his numbers as of late here in the second round has really come up. His minutes have gone up and his usage rate also.
Right. To me, Boom, Policarpio has been, if not the most underrated player this season. He wasn't playing much during the first round, but every time that he would set foot on the floor, he brings that energy, the length, that other offensive angle for Coach Topex. He can dribble the ball, bring down the ball, shoot from outside. He does everything, even the intangibles in defense.
And then the coaching of Topex Robinson, his magic this year, this winning streak. Your last words on Topex Robinson entering the finals. I know he has a chip on his shoulder too, Gerald.
A lot of people doubted Coach Topex all throughout the season, starting off with a 3-3 record. It raised a lot of question marks and doubts. But to him to overcome that and really just prove to everyone why he was the one placed to head the DLSU Green Archers, it speaks so much of him in terms of the strategies he's doing and just the trust that he has for his team.
He's unleashed the LaSalle players, including KQ, of course, and LaSalle has completely embraced Topex Robinson, including their fans, like Paulo Del Rosario.
Absolutely. I was going to say Coach Topex unleashed the fans, and we want to thank Jarrell for coming on here again today.
Thank you.
To end his stint here with talking about LaSalle. Maraming salamat, Jarrell. Really appreciate you.
How much do we love Pinoy sports? With all our heart, all the time. Download Pilipinas Live now.